In Newark, we got delayed an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. Now, it was kind of warm in there. I have a competition tan on. I hadn't had a shower, in well over 24 hours. So by the time I got home back into Baltimore, I was a stinky mess. Good morning. It is August 25th. It is 5:55 in the morning. I'm 9 days out today. And two things on the agenda for this morning. Number one is I'm going to introduce what I've called the 9 bar arm laws. And I started working on these literally in college, so probably started in 1983 maybe. I'm 9 days out. I have 9 bar arm laws. I figured this would be a good way to introduce these laws. These are very practical, they're funny, very stoic, and a good way to lead your life. Bar arm law number 1 says, life is unfair, so just deal with it. That's just the way it is. So how do you apply the bar arm law to fitness? Here's how. Life is unfair. So you are going to meet people and see people who have much better genetics than you. They're better looking, they're faster, they're stronger, they have more charisma, more motivation, they're willing to work harder than you, they're willing to sacrifice more than you. So don't be a damn troll. Don't criticize what you don't understand and what you can't handle yourself. Life is unfair. You just didn't get those genes. That's all there is to it. So why be a jerk about it? I see so many people like this on the internet. They just don't have those things, so they feel like they have to be negative and spoil the party for everybody else, instead of looking at somebody and say, wow, good for them. When I see Derek Lunsford, man, does he have some great genetics. He's got a great personality. He has a lot of charisma. He has a very strong faith. He has a beautiful wife and works really hard. Why criticize him? You should sit back and say, wow, that guy's really got it together. I wish I were more like that. Maybe I should role model myself after that, instead of being one of those people who just says, he uses drugs. He's a steroid user. That's all he is. I could look like that if I used steroids. No, you couldn't. You couldn't be like him if you did everything he did. Life is unfair. He just has better genetics and everything than you. So, that's how you apply a bar arm law. So, I do have a Patreon page, and I'll put a link up there or there, wherever it pops up. And if you would like to make a small donation or a large donation to help me get to this, I would love to help. Next thing I want to talk about is the shows I've done. So yesterday I talked about my very first show. It was Philadelphia Classic. And so I was looking through my photographs. The second show I did was actually in Indianapolis. Now, I told you about my coach, Chris Mosier. So he was based out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. So I decided to do this show in June. And this gave me a chance to meet him and Linda in person, which was a great experience. I've never been to Indianapolis either, so that was fun. It was going to be a rushed weekend. Linda worked for a company, like one of those tanning companies. She actually did my spray tan, so I had a very good spray tan for that show. And I had a good time talking to Chris. I learned a lot. I think I got a 4th place in that show, and I got a great trophy that I was really proud of. And Chris said if I had just held my abs longer, through the whole time, then I most likely would have gotten a 3rd, but I would just let it go. That taught me a valuable lesson. The day of the show, after the show was over, I had to hightail it back home for my my plane ticket. Couldn't get back to the hotel to take a shower, so I still had a competition tan on. You look pretty funny with a competition tan that hasn't had the first layer washed off yet. So I'm sitting there in the airport, got on my first flight, had the connection back to Newark, and then in Newark we got delayed an hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. Now, it was kind of warm in there. I have a competition tan on. If you touch anything, it stains it. I hadn't had a shower, in well over 24 hours. And I'd been under those hot stage lights, and it was hot in Indiana. I did not smell good either, and I had on a tank top. So by the time I got home back into Baltimore, I was a stinky mess. But that was a good time, and I loved that trophy, and I learned some valuable lessons. Tomorrow, I'll tell you about my next show, and I'll pass on the next Bar Am law. Until tomorrow, I'll see you back in the saddle.